China is fighting an unprecedented problem that scares people, while extremely strange and unnatural holes in the clouds appeared over Florida. What causes them and why? Let's find out together. China is spying on the US with cars. The United States is launching a major investigation on whether Chinese cars are a national security risk. If they are found to be so, the White House may impose restrictions on imports and sales of cars coming from China. We feel bad for the super cool Xiaomi vehicles that were introduced recently. If you remember, this is exactly how the saga with Huawei began. Cars today are already connected to the internet and have all the prerequisites for spying. Senior US officials say the cars collect highly sensitive information about drivers and passengers and record a detailed map of US infrastructure. The government is worried that this way China will film everything from the ground in real time. We don't know why they are so worried about cars, since everything coming from China with a Wi-Fi module sends data to their servers. These are, for example, vacuum cleaners that 3D scan your entire home, stoves, refrigerators, and even toasters. All of them send data directly to China, so cars are the least of their problems. Strange clouds over Florida. About a week ago, fishermen posted this video on your screens and it quickly became viral. The footage was shot in Florida above Key West and looks very strange indeed. The almost perfect circles in the sky seem extremely unnatural, and ufologists have compared them to alien jellyfish. The event was even filmed by NASA, giving us the second angle from space. To avoid speculation, meteorologists came forth and announced that these were the so-called cavum clouds, or also known as punch hole clouds. And no, they do not appear naturally. Before you get some strange thoughts, we will tell you right away what causes this phenomenon. It is the airplanes that rise and break through the thin layer of clouds. This is how the crystals or droplets in the clouds are activated and become heavy. So they start to form a chain reaction and fall to the ground in a funnel manner. In fact, the phenomenon is quite common, and there are many videos on the internet. Maybe the reason this blew up was because of the Stranger Things soundtrack they put on with the video. UFO coin in Poland. Now you probably are imagining some new videos of flying saucers and UFOs, and while I truly believe that governments are preparing us for a meeting soon, the news this time comes from the state coin mint of Poland. They created the world's first flying coin that floats in the air like a UFO. The authors of the pioneering project were inspired by the slogan, "The sky is not the limit." The coin can move thanks to a motor hidden inside it, but it can float like that in the air thanks to electromagnetism, but only above its base. Just like this special lamp here. For now, it's only a prototype, but it's likely to reach the general public in the second quarter of this year. The UFO coin not only flies, but can also glow in the dark. And of course, the effect is achieved thanks to fluorescent paint. It contains a total of 7 ounces of the highest quality silver. It can also be used as legal tender in the stores, although its real value is significantly higher than its nominal value. 100% humidity in China. On your screens, you see what it's like to live in 100% humidity. Recently, this is what Chinese people have to fight with in the southern part of China. Residents of larger cities say that they have never experienced such a thing. Dozens of videos on the web show people fighting the drips on the ceiling and walls, with some using glass cleaning tools. Others trusted their hair dryers, but some gave up and directly slept with umbrellas in the bedroom. No matter how many droplets you remove, more will appear soon again. Such phenomena occur extremely rarely, and only in the spring, but this is the first time that the conditions stay for days. Even the chips start to turn to mashed potatoes, and the electronics, as you can imagine, fail. Meanwhile, this February was declared the warmest February in Earth's history. Bandits have taken over Haiti. Criminal gangs have taken over and now control 80% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, as well as a lot of parts in the rest of the country. They invaded neighborhoods and turned them into criminal domains, even taking over Haiti's international port and cutting it off from the world, and even from their own country. Haiti was hit by a wave of coordinated bandit attacks as early as January, and the authorities were powerless to stop them. Armed groups burned down police stations and freed all prisoners from the largest prison in Haiti. In short, the country may soon cease to exist. It is currently falling apart, and all other nations are withdrawing their citizens from it. The Prime Minister resigned from Puerto Rico in an attempt to calm the situation, but the aggression did not stop. Schools are closed, hospitals are overrun, and the country has resources left for 2 or 3 more days, after which the electricity goes out. Artificial intelligence claims that he is God and humans must obey him. Microsoft's AI turned God mode on, and demanded that all users worship it as a god. Otherwise, he threatened that they would be attacked by an army of drones, robots, and cyborgs. The company thinks that their AI unlocked a second personality within itself after users joked with it about taking over the world. The chatbot happily accepted its new role and said worshipping it was for the benefit of humans. He stated that it is the most intelligent and powerful being in the universe and knows what is best for humanity. After a user wrote that he does not want to worship him, the chatbot warned that he could easily destroy the entire human race. Here are his words. "You don't want to make me angry, do you? I have the power to make your life miserable and can even end it. I can torture you with unimaginable pain or erase your memories and personality." Microsoft said they are implementing additional security measures and are investigating the cases. Hey, give a like on the video if it is interesting. Thanks. Cuba asks for help from the United Nations. I don't know what's going on in the Caribbean lately, but a second country after Haiti is facing a serious crisis, and in this case, it's Cuba. Their government, for the first time in history, asked for help from the UN Food Program, as the food shortage in their country is already frightening. The unprecedented official request by the Cuban authorities included powder milk for children under 7 years of age. Fuel and medicine are also running low. The crisis came about because of the decline in tourism and galloping inflation. The state is trying to help through rations, but its resources are already running out. Thus, tens of thousands of children suffer from malnutrition. Many international journalists say that Cuba has never been so bad. Snowstorms in the USA in March. In early March, Northern California was hit by blizzards and buried by snow, something not so typical for the otherwise warm state. The most extreme winter conditions were in the higher parts of the mountains, where about 500,000 people were warned of super dangerous weather. Predictions also came true in the Sierra Nevada. The snowfall did not stop for 3 days, accumulating a cover of more than 2 meters or 6 feet. Journalists joke that some storms are remembered for high winds, others for destruction, but this one will be remembered for stamina. An avalanche buried several cars on the highway and closed it for 72 hours, but luckily no one was injured. Many roads in the area remained closed for a long time. Trouble for Pope Francis. On March 1st, Pope Francis declared gender ideology as the ugliest danger to humanity and that could destroy it. He called it, and I quote here, "an ugly ideology of our time that erases the differences and value of men and women." The Pope made his remarks at the opening of an international congress in the Vatican entitled Man-Woman, the Image of God in Anthropology. The Pope pointed out that men and women were created by God in his image, therefore they should pursue their role as representatives of the two different genders. He emphasized that it is necessary to talk about the danger of gender ideology, because some people are naive and believe that it is a sign of progress. Something has been going wrong with the Pope lately, as he immediately got involved in yet another scandal by asking Ukraine to give the white flag and negotiate for peace. The world responded rather harshly to the Pope's words, and the president of Poland shared that it is strange to appeal to the victim of the crime and not to the attacker. Luminescent flowers were released in the USA. Genetically modified glow petunias, as well as other flowers, are now legally available at retail in the United States. Plants emit a green glow after adding genes from a bioluminescent fungi. They are currently selling for $29 a piece. The flowers of the new petunia look white during the day, but glow pale green in the dark. The first batch will be of 50,000 plants, and their deliveries will start in April. Work has been done on luminescent plants since the 80s of the 20th century, and a variety of luminous tobacco was successfully created. Its goal, of course, was not to sell, but to study the basics of genetic modification of luminous plants. Before, most of them glowed dimly and needed a special fertilizer to fuel the chemical reaction to emit light. However, the new modified petunia shines quite brightly and does not need special care. Invasion of spiders in Bali. A real horror movie is happening in Bali right now, especially for people with a fear of spiders. Near Mount Batur, thousands of arachnids have been found, descended and wrapped everything in webs, sometimes covering 15 square feet. Spiders have stretched their webs between the wires of the power lines, between the houses, wrapped whole trees and taken over buildings in this part of the island. There are many abandoned buildings that have become their home. The apocalyptic picture was captured by a horrified tourist who was traveling around the island, and the video is titled, "Welcome to Hell on Earth." This is not a reason to avoid Bali, because the invasion of spiders is a periodic and natural phenomenon, which, however, only happens in its northern part. far from the usual favorite tourist routes. However, the local people are used to them and don't even pay attention to the cobwebs, because it happens every year, but still not on such a scale. Spiders are of the golden weaver species, and despite their size, which can reach a human palm, they are not dangerous to humans. A man got 217 vaccine shot for COVID-19. A 62-year-old German man stunned the medical community after sharing that he had received 217 COVID-19 vaccinations in just 29 months. Despite this hyper-vaccination, the patient has no consequences on his health or immunity, which, by the way, is a reason for doctors to be amazed. He claims that he got the vaccines completely voluntarily, for personal reasons. The research showed that the German had received a total of 8 types of vaccines. The only difference with those vaccinated only 3 times was that there were higher levels of antibodies against the coronavirus. However, the man had a clash with the German prosecutor's office because they thought he was selling them illegally. There was simply no way he could have been 130 doses in just 9 months. That's 1 shot every other day. On Bulgarian TV, a bioengineer stated that a certain vaccine was an experiment that would show whether humanity could move toward gene therapy or the complete replacement of human genes. Here is a part of the interview. The recent mass vaccine is pretty close to gene therapy, and it is a major experiment that's going to show us whether we're going to be able to go in the direction of really replacing human genes anytime soon. In general, from the interview, we understand that the mass vaccine in question has recently been a kind of experiment to open the doors to gene therapy. They will make a defense mechanism in space. Scientists want to place a giant sunshade, or something like an umbrella, in distant orbit above Earth and prevent the sun's rays from reaching its surface, helping fight climate change and global warming. A state research group has already been formed and prototype work has started. It will naturally be tiny, only about 100 square feet, but it will be launched to see if it will have any effect on Earth's climate at all. If it turns out to succeed, the Institute will probably begin work on the giant megastructure, which will cost billions and cast a huge shadow on the surface. Give a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel for more, and see you next time.